welcome back to Ga Sai One-on-One. And today I got the privilege to have the overall coordinator of 2016, Ken Wong, with us.
Hello.
We always talk about the first encounter.
Yes.
So tell us a bit about your first encounter.
Okay. Well, my first encounter, I guess my first real encounter with God, has to be my very first camp at Ga Sai. And it was such a um, uh, it was such a great experience, with having met um, all the new people, all new friends, right? Who share the same faith, who share the same culture. It was just absolutely something that I've always wanted. Always prayed for as well. And so when I got the chance to meet the entire Ga Sai community, it was like God's answer to my prayer. I still remember to this day that I was thinking, wow, this must be kind of, what heaven might feel like, a taste of heaven.
So I'm curious. So after the first Ga Sai, because you like it so much, then you just keep going back.
Yes, yeah, I've been back to every camp of the year. Well, the in-person camps. So all the years from 2006 to 2019.
Mm-hmm. Will you be able to share a bit about, you are not locally from like the lower mainland? So in order to come to
No.
Ga Sai, actually is quite a journey for you.
Yes, yeah. So actually, the first year, for 2006, I grew up in Victoria, and so I was living in Victoria, BC at the time, and I would basically I had to take the ferry from Victoria. I didn't have a car at the time, so I had the bus to CMCC to meet up and to go to the camp. And yeah, but it was all worth it.
When do you start serving Ga Sai, and then anything that's special that you end up serving as the overall coordinator?
I started becoming the one of the guitar players for Ga Sai since I think it was 2008, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so I played the guitar, and yeah, I still remember, the first year I played the guitar for Ga Sai, I was totally not ready, and but thank God I had such great partners. Shout out to Bosco, Bosco Lee. He really showed me a lot in how to play the guitar. And then he's kind of like one of my sifus. I didn't take up any roles in the core until I became overall coordinator in 2016.
What do you mean?
So
What do you mean? Like,
yeah,
they told me that they have such a gruesome discernment process that there are people who want to be on the court, but they never got into the court.
Yeah, it was I think it was, so 2016 um would have been my 10th year, I think, or 11th year, 10th 11th year at Ga Sai, right? um and something in the back of my mind was saying, okay, Ken, this is the year that you need to serve on core. Like, you've been to so many years of Ga Sai, you've played the guitar for a number of years. You have to step up. I put my name down, and then had the interview, and yeah, the rest was history.
And you enjoyed it and no regret.
Oh yeah, no regrets, no regrets. I don't know what I would have done without the group that I had. I didn't have any experience, but I had Calvin, who was on my team. He was in core before, Calvin Ching. He really organized and everything, and I learned a lot from him. Yeah. So sometimes when I think, when God presents you with an opportunity, you might not think that you're up to it, but in the end, he'll make it work. You just have to say yes. And I think that's That's what God wanted to show me, is that,
Wow.
just say yes and he'll take care of the rest. I think the most challenging part was probably just from myself, really, and kind of the self-doubts, oh, is this going to go well? Are the campers going to enjoy it?
Yeah.
And just kind of, I guess, because without the previous core experience, the challenging part for me was also navigating through kind of what it means to be OC. Thankfully, there were people who were experienced in core and who, just helped me along the way a lot.
So it kind of sounds like that God is the wind beneath your wings and just carry you through
Oh yeah,
whatever
yeah,
challenges that you have. If
for sure.
I take that experience from Ga Sai and put it in real life, what God's role in your journey in terms of studying, working?
In my career path, it's been quite a windy road. I think God, he plays the role of, the light in my journey. All I have to do is just follow the light, and wherever the journey takes me, just follow the light, and he'll take care of the rest. And I think he showed me in Ga Sai, and he showed me in in my life journey as well. And yeah, and it's important to, I think, pray as well. I think God will always be our light, but I think it's also important to pray, to have an open mind, to open your eyes to actually see the light, right? And I mean, I'm always so thankful of the graces that God has given me through Ga Sai and the people I've met. That I think Ga Sai really helped me to have that open eyes to see the light, and to know him more, and to be able to discern what is from him and what's not from him. I think that's really important too.
You talk about discernment because you need to know what is the path that he wants you to be on and what is not. So in order to have this discernment, you talked about prayer. How do you cultivate your prayer life then?
Before, I guess, in in the past, my prayer life wasn't particularly regular per se. I sometimes I mean, usually after Ga Sai, there would be a period of time like, oh, I would pray every day, right after Ga Sai. It's like a boost, right?
Yeah.
But then I think eventually I realized, what, like, um, I have to take more of an effort to have a better relationship with God. I can't just go to Ga Sai every year and then do maybe several weeks of prayer and then nothing and drop it, right? That just doesn't work. Thankfully, a friend of mine introduced me to something called Exodus 90. And shout out to Simon C. And he was the friend who showed me Exodus 90. And he formed a group of us, the four of us, who would meet every week. Nowadays it's all online, of course. But yeah, we would share our life for the past week, and share our thoughts, readings that we've had. So it's a program for Catholic men. It all revolves around the three pillars: prayer, asceticism, and fraternity. The program really encourages us to have a good prayer life, because that is the only sure way to have a good relationship with God.
Yeah.
And the asceticism or disciplines, they're there to help you sacrifice yourself for others, right? To have that mindset of what it means to give up yourself and to serve other people. And then of course the fraternity, because that's important too, because without other men there to support you in your journey and your spiritual journey, it's very easy for us to kind of drop the ball and go back to where we were before, right?
Yeah. So it's kind of like accountability.
Yes, exactly. And that's why we have the weekly meeting. So and we've exactly, and we've been doing this for the past I think past a year.
You did get past the 90 days.
Oh yes. Yeah, so if anyone wants to learn more about it, it's called Exodus 90. And I'd highly encourage young men to go through the program and beyond, because it's it'll you'll become so much better in terms of your prayer life, your spiritual life, and your more importantly, your relationship with God will be so much better.
I will proceed from here that since God has given you such great opportunity to get yourself equipped, so I'm sure that he's calling you to something bigger.
So actually it's a good segue, because in the program it talks a lot about sacrificing yourself to serve others, but also become better men, better husbands, and better fathers. So yes, I'm going to be a father. Well, I am a father because I'm just waiting for the baby to be born in July. So it's coincidentally Exodus 90 is helping me prepare to be a dad and to learn more about what it means to be there for your child, to be there to support them in their spiritual journey. And I think one of the most important things is, as fathers, we must have a strong prayer life to begin with.
Congratulations, Ken.
Thank you.
I am anticipating the good news in July, and will pray for your wife's pregnancy as well as your accompaniment, so that both of you be able to grow in love and mature in love in terms of truly giving yourself to each other and to plunge yourself into a new terrain of love that actually what God wants to show you. And to wrap up our chat today, are you aware that this is the year of St. Joseph?
Yes.
I would like to give you this words of wisdom from Pope Francis that I myself really find it helpful when I read, because Pope Francis' writing is very easy to read, unlike some of the other popes, perhaps that they are theologians. So that's why sometimes it's kind of like beyond my level of understanding. But Pope Francis' writing has always been easy to read. So he described it for 7 different aspects of St. Joseph as a father. And one of them is called an accepting father. And I really like what Pope Francis talked about, because a lot of times we are trying to seek God's will and trying to find what he wants us to do. But then Pope Francis wrote, the spiritual path that Joseph traces for us is not one that explains, but accepts. Only as a result of this acceptance, this reconciliation, can we begin to glimpse a broader history, a deeper meaning of life. So there are a lot of times Pope Francis wrote, things happen in a way that we do not understand, like things happen. And our first reaction will always be kind of like, could be disappointed, discouraged, rebellious. But Joseph always set aside his own ideas in order to accept the course of events, and mysterious as they seemed, to embrace whatever happens and take responsibility for them and make them part of his own history. From your sharing, like, I really like how you just follow God's will and kind of how you heard his calling, and then you are able to have that courage to respond very generously. Thank you very much for your time today. And I hope you enjoyed the chat as I did. And I got the chance to meet you kind of for the first time as well.
Yes. Same here. Thanks, Odi. Bye.